First in high definition from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
The military says it recovered the flight incident recorder from the crashed FA-18 jet. That's new information tonight as we look live at the scene. The Navy is preparing to move the wing and part of the fuselage. For now, the engines will stay here. And just into the WAVY newsroom, the first calls to 911.
Hit an apartment complex, and I saw the pilot bail out. The pilot did bail out, I saw it, but it hit the apartment complex.
Many residents lost everything just 3 days after that jet crashed in the Virginia Beach apartment complex. The Navy is handing out compensation checks.
Now, we've been on your side with extensive coverage of the FA-18 fighter jet that went down just after takeoff from NAS Oceana on Friday, destroying 3 buildings and dozens of apartments. Tonight on WAVY News 10, you'll hear from the first responders and the victims. 10 on your side, Andy Fox is live at the crash site tonight. He starts off team coverage tonight from the beginning of the recovery effort. Andy.
Yeah, Alvita, it's been another busy day out here, the 4th day into this. This is what I can report, that the Navy wrote 41 checks. 37 of them have been picked up for a total of $90,000. It was another attempt to try to make the victims whole after this horrific tragedy. Day 4 into the cleanup at Mayfair Mews Apartments. Day 4 living in the clothes on your back. Day 4 putting extraordinary emergency expense checks into the hands of victims like Esther Lederman.
I can't sleep. Crying all the time. It's been very traumatic, needless to say.
They flew through our front window and out our back bedroom.
Ben Dishner not only lost his home, he lost his job, working maintenance at Mayfair Mews.
She got a check for $2,202. And I got one for $956.
Thankfulness outmeasured only by uncertainty.
We wonder what's going to happen in 10 days. That place is not going to be rebuilt in 10 days. What happens then?
4 days into this, Fred Chapman got his check, but he's tired, real tired.
Sleeping in and out of your car the whole time. You know, and running you this place, that place, this place, that place. A lot of things I don't know. You don't know where you're going.
Dottie Lebrecht, 4 days in, still emotional, but thanking God.
God is a miracle.
She was in the kitchen and her screen door caught on fire.
Yeah, those are just some of the stories. Now, the primary person on the lease would get $2,300. The secondary person, a dependent, would get $930. Now, they are providing these checks, but there are a lot of people out here hurting. Even though we had this miraculous event take place, they are still hurting. That part of the story tonight at 6. In Virginia Beach, Andy Fox, 10 on your side.
Amazing how close that was. Virginia Beach Mayor Will Sessoms was moved by what he saw. He sent this statement to us today. I want to recognize the community in that area for pulling together to help our first responders in the moments following the crash. All came together proactively and without hesitation in the face of great danger. The mayor went on to say, quote, I witnessed citizens working alongside firefighters to move water hoses, help with traffic management, assist in getting residents out of their buildings. This is truly the very best of Virginia Beach. Neighbors helping neighbors, working together in a time of great need. 201, that's how many times an F-18 has been involved in a serious accident since the Navy and Marine Corps began flying the Hornet in 1980. We asked 10 on your side, Sergeant Khan, to look into the jet's safety record. Are 201, it sounds like a high number.
Well, yeah, Tom, by itself, you're right. That does sound like a lot. But the Navy contends that when you consider the thousands of flight hours divided among several different squadrons, not to mention the complexity and danger involved with operating supersonic aircraft, it's really not that extraordinary.
This aircraft is a terrific aircraft. It is the foundation of our tactical aviation forces.
Just 24 hours after the crash at Mayfair Mews Apartments, Fleet Forces Commander Admiral John Harvey made it clear that the Navy has not lost confidence in the F-18 Hornet.
It is the backbone of our carrier fleet, and I think the safety record in particular has been pretty extraordinary.
It is also a lengthy record. In fact, the only year the F-18 was not involved in a Class A or serious accident was in 1982. Since that time, there have been at least 2 crashes a year. Of the 32 years that the jets have been in operation, 7 of those years recorded at least 10 crashes, with as many as 15 in 1991. As recently as 2004, there was 14 serious accidents involving the F-18 Hornet. Those numbers reflect aircraft flown by both the Navy and the Marine Corps. Last year, there were 6 serious crashes, and with Friday's crash, there has been 2 this year. But the commanding officer of Naval Air Force Atlantic, Rear Admiral Ted Branch, would say those numbers do not tell the whole story.
Our mishap rate is as low as it's ever been in naval aviation.
According to the Naval Safety Center in Norfolk, the longest streak without an F-18 mishap since 1980 is 578 days. The final breakdown of the numbers since 1980 boils down to this. There have been 201 Navy and Marine Corps F-18 aircraft involved in serious accidents. 159 of those planes were destroyed. 64 crewmen were killed. A total of 7 civilians were killed on the ground, bringing the total fatality rate to 76. Yeah, now, the most serious accident was in December of 2008 in San Diego. Coming up tonight at 6, I'll have more information for you on that and a look at how much these accidents have cost the service. Art Khan, 10 on your side.
And buttoning up our top story now, the Navy started handing out compensation checks today to victims of Friday's crash into that Virginia Beach apartment complex. That complex, Mayfair Mews off Bird Neck Road. Initial payouts are $2,300 per person to cover housing, meals, and clothes. Families will get more. The F-18 fighter went down just after takeoff Friday, destroying dozens of apartments. No one was killed. All 7 people hurt in that crash are home from the hospital, including the 2 pilots. The Navy blames, quote, catastrophic mechanical malfunction.
A Norfolk-based ship is the 2nd aircraft carrier deployed to the Persian Gulf amid rising tensions with Iran. The Navy says that the deployment of the USS Enterprise and the Pacific Fleet-based USS Abraham Lincoln marks one of the few times that 2 aircraft carriers have operated in waters near the Persian Gulf. The Enterprise and the Lincoln will support operations in Afghanistan and anti-piracy efforts off Somalia's coast and in the Gulf of Aden. The warships also patrol the Gulf's strategic oil routes that Iran has threatened to shut down in retaliation for economic sanctions because of its nuclear program. The Enterprise left Hampton Roads last month. The carrier is scheduled for deactivation this fall. Across the nation, a surprising move to some in Florida. After more than a month of escalating tension, the special prosecutor in the Trayvon Martin case announced today she would not go to a grand jury for an indictment against suspect George Zimmerman. NBC's Jay Gray has reaction to today's developments.
Oh, mama, mama, can't you see? A handful of protesters, most of them students, marched to the Sanford Police Department today, blocking the front doors and for a short time actually closing the office down. As the protest over the Trayvon Martin shooting continued, Special Prosecutor Angela Corey announced she alone would determine if charges would be filed in the controversial case. She spoke briefly today by phone with the protesters.
Whether it's a grand jury or a special prosecutor, we just want justice for Trayvon Martin and for Trayvon Martin's family.
In a brief written statement, Corey said she would not present evidence to a grand jury set to convene tomorrow and that, quote, at this time, the investigation continues and there will be no further comment from this office.
Anything that gets this case to the courtroom the right way, I think is what we all want.
Martin family attorney Benjamin Crump released this statement after Corey's decision. We are not surprised by this announcement and, in fact, are hopeful that a decision will be reached very soon to arrest George Zimmerman and give Trayvon Martin's family the simple justice they have been seeking all along. It's been 45 days now since Martin was shot and killed by Community Watch volunteer George Zimmerman. His legal team continues to insist he fired in self-defense.
When you're getting your head slammed on the ground after your nose has been broken, that's a pretty good reason to have fear of imminent injury. Then you're entitled to use force, including deadly force, to protect yourself.
Now, with so many people watching and weighing in on the case,
we need to go ahead and move forward. The wheels of justice have moved far too slowly in this case.
After today's decision, the only one who can make them spin any faster is the special prosecutor in the case. Jay Gray, NBC News, Sanford, Florida.
10 on your side's coverage of the Navy jet crash continues, new at 5:30. 10 on your side talked to the first people on the scene. And most of us have a routine. A change in a Mayfair Mews resident's routine may have made the difference between life and death. You're going to hear her story of survival.
And how a woman's weight during pregnancy impacts her unborn child. We have new research about how it could put babies at risk for autism.
And there is a fire risk today because the humidity is low and the winds are up there. For today, we'll tell you about the red flag warnings for fire danger and our cooler forecast in just a few minutes.
Sony is cutting 10,000 jobs around the world. The company says it needs to cut 6% of its workforce over the next week to try and return to making a profit. Sony is struggling with weak TV sales. Earlier this year, the company reported a $2 billion loss.
And Ford is trying to clear things up on its Focus models. It's recalling 140,000 cars because of possible problems with the windshield wipers. Ford says a seal in the passenger side wiper motor may be missing in certain 2012 Focus models. The automaker says water could build up, causing the wiper to stop working. Ford will notify owners and dealers of that problem.
Obesity during pregnancy might increase a woman's chances of having a child with autism. A new study of 1,000 mothers and their children finds women who are obese during pregnancy are 60% more likely to have a child with autism. They are 2 times more likely to have a child with a developmental delay. Having type 2 diabetes, a condition often linked to obesity, also increases that risk.
Her biochemistry really has a profound impact on development, including brain development.
Right now, more than 60% of women of childbearing age in the U.S. are considered overweight or obese. Previous research has linked obesity during pregnancy with stillbirths, preterm births, and some birth defects.
This is all that's left of an abandoned warehouse in Philadelphia following a 5-alarm fire. You're going to see the flames responsible for taking the lives of 2 firefighters. But first,
I would have been home before noon.
She lost everything when a Navy jet crashed into her apartment building. Why it was such a close call for this Mayfair Mews resident.
You're watching WAVY News 10 at 5 with Tom Shad, Nicole Ribas, and Super Doppler 10 Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
A Virginia Beach woman says she is lucky to be alive tonight after that jet crashed on Friday into the Mayfair Mews apartments.
And that's where Sandy Hall has lived for the past year. 10 on your side's Ava Hurdle tells us a change in a schedule made all the difference. Ava.
Well, that's right, Tom. She says a housekeeping appointment Friday morning was moved up to 11:30, taking her away from her home when the accident happened.
Friday morning when I left, everything was in place in my house. And Friday by noon, I didn't even have a house.
A Navy jet crashed into Sandy Hall's apartment building more than a half hour after she locked the door to leave.
I would have been home before noon, and luckily I got delayed an hour and a half. So I wasn't home, I was at work, and my brother's fiance called and said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I'm at work."
Heartbroken and devastated to learn there was nothing left of her apartment, the widow and mother of 2 lost precious mementos.
Everything that my husband ever gave me, everything that I had of my children's, and my son's little shoes that I brought him home from the hospital in, and my grandmother's quilt that she made me when I was 14. There's no replacing those things.
But she's grateful everyone is alive.
I'm also glad that both the pilots are okay, because I know they didn't mean for this to happen. And I feel really bad that that pilot's going to have this in his head for the rest of his life, and he needs to realize that he did a good thing. All of us are okay.
Okay, and that's the way Hall says she is right now, taking it one day at a time. Now, Sandy Hall is thankful to have friends and family around for continued support. I'm Ava Hurdle, 10 on your side.
And Hall also received a check from the Navy this morning to help her with expenses over the next few weeks.
Now, in high definition, your Super Doppler 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
Little breezy every now and then during the day today, and that has really heightened the fire danger for our part of the world. Now, right now, it's very, very quiet. Again, we've got a little bit of cloud cover starting to move on in, but as far as rainfall, it's off to the north so far. Now, we are going to see a few stray showers, and that'll certainly alleviate any fire danger, but it's mainly going to be for the northern neck, perhaps Accomack County, coming up in the next several hours into the evening hours. Now, you can see, again, that rainfall dropping fairly rapidly eastward and southeastward just a bit. It's on the northern fringe of Richmond. Some middle peninsula, parts of the middle peninsula could see a little bit of rain as well. But our big story is it's going to be breezy and dry through tomorrow. Then we're going to see some changes coming up. Now, we are going to see again that cool front drop on through, but it's not going to drop our temperatures all that much for the day tomorrow. But it is going to create a little bit of that rain again for the northern neck and Accomack County on the eastern shore. Could drop southward into Northampton County too. But again, it's not going to be anything big as far as rainfall, not likely to be even a rumble of thunder out of it. 15, 20-mile-an-hour winds at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then lots of sunshine for tomorrow, 10 to 15-mile-an-hour winds, 10 to 20-mile-an-hour winds at the noon hour, and at the end of the day, a few clouds starting to move on in. But again, the fact that we've got lots of sunshine, 15, 20-mile-an-hour winds, that fire danger is going to continue through tomorrow. Now, tomorrow night, winds drop on down, and there is some rain again to the south of the Hampton Roads area over the Outer Banks coming up tomorrow night at midnight, and then by Wednesday morning it's gone. Starting the day with some sunshine, a lot more cloud cover starts to fill in as the day wears along for the day on Wednesday. And it'll be cooler, significantly cooler during the day on Wednesday. Tomorrow's not going to be bad, but again, a little bit on the breezy side. And the winds, you can see these are dead-on winds, and they'll be gusting even higher at times. Tonight at 9 o'clock, 18, 19, 25-mile-an-hour winds dead on. Now, there's where things are by the noon hour tomorrow, 18, 19 miles an hour. But again, it's going to be gusting to around 20, 25. Here's where things are at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 o'clock in the evening, and there's where we are by 9 o'clock in the evening. And then after that, the wind should drop on down considerably for the day coming up on Wednesday. But that fire danger remains high. We have red flag warnings, increased fire danger throughout the entire area. And you can see it even on down to the south. There's even a higher than normal warning there. Dead winter vegetation, in other words, all the grass, all the leaves that died on off last fall and through the winter, that's really the source of fuel. And then gusty winds in the dry air add to that danger. Any fire that does develop could spread very, very rapidly. We've got a few clouds out there. Partly cloudy skies, temperatures low to mid-70s. Chesapeake's temperatures missing right now. I haven't been able to get that one, but basically low 70s right now. And you can see our winds are still rather gusty to around 25, 30 miles an hour. And those winds will tend to drop on down during the overnight hours as temperatures drop. Now, there's going to be a little bit of, there's going to be a little rain toward the northern neck and the eastern shore. Otherwise, the rest of us are rain-free over the next 7 days. We are looking at some rain again on Tuesday night for the Outer Banks, but warm tomorrow. And after that, temperatures drop on down through the end of the week.
The whole neighborhood says it heard that explosion during one family's backyard cookout. We'll tell you how a little boy got burned.
And then new at 5:30, I talked to NBC's Pentagon correspondent about the investigation into the Navy jet crash. It was a huge fire, an abandoned warehouse in Philadelphia that sent 2 firefighters to their deaths. They died when a wall collapsed inside a nearby building. 3 others were hurt. And flying embers from this fire damaged 6 homes in the area. Firefighters spent hours battling these flames, the cause of which remains a mystery. It's dry and windy in New Jersey, ingredients for a forest fire threatening several homes. The flames are burning in the towns of Tabernacle and Woodland in Burlington County. The fire has torched about 1,000 acres so far, and the weather is not helping firefighters.
People throughout the neighborhood say they heard it. A grill explosion severely burned a 6-year-old Oregon boy. Police said that little boy was standing near his mother while she tried to light a charcoal grill with a highly explosive gas made from remote control cars. Now, the blast was so strong that it threw debris onto the roof. The boy is expected to survive. He has burns on his face and his hands. Police say it was an accident and they don't plan to file any charges.
There's been a sunrise service on Easter at Fort Story for more than 75 years. Why this year's service, though, had a special meaning.
And police say it's a new way of hitting people at home. Hear how some thieves are targeting families out for a night at the movies.
Really? Hi.
Police are worried it could be a new trend in home burglaries. Detectives say that thieves targeted a Washington family out for a night at the movies. Investigators also say that the thieves likely watched the family go into the theater. Then the criminals broke into their car, got the victim's address from their registration. The family didn't even know about the burglary until they called police about the car break-in.
The police knew right away. Right as soon as they asked us for our registration, and as soon as we said it was gone, they said, "We're sending people to your house."
The thieves were gone by the time the officers got there. They stole mostly jewelry. Police say one of the ways to avoid becoming a victim is to use the lock on your glove box and keep your personal information locked in there. If you don't have a lock, then take your personal information with you when you're away from the car. Self-checkout lanes at retail stores are convenient for shoppers, and apparently more people are stealing as well. A new study found theft is 5 times more likely to occur at a self-checkout lane than at a lane with a cashier. Some stores have closed the self-checkout lanes, partly because of the customer service and partly because of shoplifting. Walmart and CVS are among the chains adding them right now. Newer self-checkout systems can tell if items aren't placed on that belt. New at 5:30, we're hearing from the people first on the scene after Friday's Navy jet crash.